What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at that super hot freshness, a game called Broken Roads, that has released this week. I think around the time this video is actually going to come out as well. This is a Wasteland-style post-apocalyptic RPG. It's party-based. That's going to be very similar to something that you've played along the lines of Wasteland, actually. I've been playing this game now for probably about 2 or 3 hours, and it's actually, the best way that I can describe it is it exists somewhere in between something like Wasteland and something like Disco Elysium, actually. It's a game that's a lot of dialogue, it's a lot of chatting, it's going to be a game that has a lot of moments that are like narrative influenced, but aside from that, there is the occasional combat, there is the occasional mayhem that kicks off in the middle of the post-apocalyptic frontier. I think what makes this game a little bit different from other games of its genre is just the fact that it takes place in Australia, and it also takes advantage of kind of the entire culture and I guess sort of social structure of the place. Like, how would Australia itself be if the nuclear bombs fail? And let's assume that the Wanderer is doing his thing over in the Mojave Desert, and, you know, New Vegas is doing its thing where, like, bongo, 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 I don't want to leave the car. Like, it's their, you know, they're doing their 1950s inspired thing over there. What's going on in Australia during the post-apocalypse? And Broken Roads seems to answer that. If after watching this you wanted to get the game for yourself, I do have a link for you down below in the description. You can check that on out. I've also got a link to my Discord and my Twitch stream just in case you wanted to hang out live. Reasonably solid chance that I'll be streaming this game on the day that the video goes live. But let's dive right on into it. I'm going to do my best to give you my first impressions of the game, having played the first couple hours of it, so you can figure out whether or not this is the kind of title that you wanted to add to your wish list, or if ultimately it kind of feels like the sort of thing that you're not into. So I've been playing the game for 2 or 3 hours, as I said. And I think the first thing that's going to come across with this game is just how wordy it is. In the world of RPGs, this is not going to be one of those games where it opens up on like a battlefield and crazy stuff is happening and machine gun fire is going off. This game functions kind of like what my family, being Hawaiian, we call this island time. This game functions on island time. This game is a slow burner. I'm going to start out by giving you kind of like a little bit of an anecdote about my time with the game here, just so you can get an idea what it's going to be like before you purchase it. I have leveled up 6 or 7 times, and this is only the second combat that I came across. After spending several hours with the game, I actually became kind of concerned that like maybe this was not the RPG for me, because the opening 2 hours of this game are a lot of dialogue and a lot of story setting and a lot of, I guess, world building and sort of getting you introduced to the fact that you're going to be, like, adventuring in the Australian outback. And I think part of that is going to be island time, like I said. So whether you're from Tonga or whether you're from Fiji or Hawaii or whether you're from Samoa, all Pacific Island nations kind of have, like, this same sort of cultural thing that in Hawaii, we call island time, which means that it kind of like happens when it happens. Don't worry about it. It's sort of an admission that the destination is not always what you're going for. Instead, that sometimes the journey is like the process that you get there. Oh, I need to reload real fast. We'll go ahead and rap, tap, bang the old blicky then. Sometimes selectivity gets a little bit weird in close combat with enemies like that right there, where it can be a little bit difficult to get the clicks off. Hopefully they get that fixed as the game goes forward. But along with the concept of island time, it sort of feels like this game functions on sort of that tacit admission as well, where it sort of happens when it happens. We'll get there when we get there. Enjoy the reading, enjoy the storyline. If you're not like a very, very heavily narrative-influenced person, the first couple hours of this game are going to be a big drag for you. There's not going to be any combat in there. I think there was like one combat that it felt like I could force in that first hour or two, and then other than that, it was mostly just our characters talking to other characters and sort of setting the scene for the world and what we're going to be up to. But in the narrative of this game, you are the scouts, which is very, very similar to something like Wasteland, if you've ever played that. In Wasteland, you tend to be part of, like, the Rangers, are part of kind of like this elite group of guards or mercenaries that exist in the Wasteland. This game is very, very similar. The Australian outback is a very dangerous place now that the apocalypse has happened. And so there's, as you can see, giant spiders running around all over the place, causing all kinds of mayhem and trouble. I've gotten into some fights with some dingoes. I've gotten into fights with raiders. But this is going to be a game that in the earlier portion is largely going to be focused on storyline. And the good news there is, like, I'm not a big storyline guy. I prefer to, like, crack right on into it and kind of, like, get to the combat and get to the bang-bang shooty bits. But if you're not into that and you wanted a game that opens up a little bit more slowly and you wanted a game that focuses a little bit more on building a world, this may in fact be a game for you, because this game does seem to take great efforts in order to draw you into the Australian outback and into the lingo and into the language and the space of the place, and to get you sort of situated with the fact that this isn't really a post-apocalyptic RPG that you've played before. It's in a new place with a new culture that you may or may not be super acclimated with, but the game does do a good job at getting you there. Everything that's kind of like Australian slang or patter or sort of like, or I guess like banter, they highlight it for you in the chat because they know that their entire audience is not going to be from Australia and understand it all. In fact, that was actually really appreciated. And it does seem to go out of its way to make something very, very distinctly Australian. Now that we've wrapped up our fight with these spiders that are over here, currently I've got a party member that's missing. They vanished. So the general storyline of this game is that there's kind of like these independent states now that exist in Australia. And they very, very warily will join hands and ally up with each other if they have to, but everybody's kind of doing their own thing. And there's kind of like a big bad faction right now that's trying to rally everybody together with kind of like a plata or plomo style diplomacy. If you don't know what that means, it means silver and lead. Basically goes back to old gangster times where someone would tell you can take silver, which is you can take the bribe and you can join up with us, or you can take lead and we'll shoot you in the face. They seem to be doing that sort of diplomacy where they're going around the post-apocalyptic wasteland, talking to all these different villages and all these independent states and being like, hey, you can join up or we can put you to the sword. One of the settlements that we were actively responsible for defending as the scouts, they got put to the sword and one of our guys went missing, and so now we're kind of looking around and trying to find him. The game is chock-a-block with dialogue, it's got loads of side quests, it's got lots of things going on. My experience so far has been the vast majority of those things are not going to be combat focused, nor will they have kind of like a combat resolution. As I said in the opening of this game, this is a talky game where lots of people are going to be conversing about what needs to happen, and then you're going to go out and make it happen by hook or by crook. So let's see if we can find coal over here. Welcome to Alderside. We've got sheep, flies, and barley. Anything else, you're in the wrong place. Franklin Ames, the alderman of this fine town. You seen a redheaded guy with freckles? He's a mate of ours. Nah, I haven't seen a bloke like that around here, sorry. Crops look pretty healthy. Who's the supplier? Good eye. Bloke called Bruce Harris. He carts water from the east and says g'day before making his way to Brookton. He never told me where the water's from, though. You know how Deweys are. Deweys are dew farmers, basically. They're kind of like that adaptation of the Star Wars idea of moisture farmers, because there's not a whole lot of rain out in the Australian outback. But we won't be needing him anymore. Business is booming in Alderside thanks to my silver tongue. Who's going to bring you the water if not Bruce? Look, I appreciate idle chatter, same as the next fella, but I can't go yarning to everybody about the comings and goings of town. All right, well, let's go see if we can find Cole around. He's probably in the vicinity somewhere. Worst case scenario is we just picked up a little bit of meat, and this stuff sells for a decent amount to vendors and whatnot. There is character building in this game. It's actually been reasonably decent. The game does seem to reference, you're going to have a number of backgrounds you can choose from when you go into the beginning of the game. She's watching the cloudless sky. If you're here for Julianne, she's near the CWA building. No flies on you, eh, Susan? I pull out all the stops for you, mate. You seen a red-headed guy with freckles? He's a friend of ours. Julianne's keeping your mate with his tanker in a barn nearby. I was hoping somebody'd come looking for him. Means we've got more hands to make our plan work. What plan are you talking about? Go chat with Nathaniel about it. Blue scarf, blonde hair. Tell him Sue sent you. But as I was saying, character creation in this game is fairly simple. You just choose from a bunch of pre-built characters, in all honesty. You do get to choose where your stat points go. You do get to choose where your attributes go. But when it comes to the physical appearance of your character, It didn't seem like there was a whole lot of customization there. I just went with like the first one. But there is character building in this game. There are a number of attributes. They all do different things. Strength does exactly what you think it would do. Agility increases your movement points and your action points. Resolve is how much HP you have and your resistance to status effects. Awareness is how good you are with a gun and raises up your damage with shooting weapons. It gives you better dodge score as well if somebody manages to get into baseline melee contact with you. Intelligence is for action points. It's for initiative, intimidation checks, all that kind of stuff. And then charisma affects other things like punt points, which are kind of like, I don't know if you've ever played Shadowrun. Punt is kind of like edge. It's these points that you could turn in to give yourself a better chance at doing things, basically. To increase your chances of doing like an impossible task or things of that nature. It effectively allows you to kind of like weigh these scales of fate in your favor. But that's about it. Most of these level ups have been done while talking. The game is very, very generous. With XP. You get XP for everything in this game. They are constantly throwing little wads of 30 or 40 XP at you. Everything from looking at points of interest and just learning about Australia to fighting with enemies or to completing quests, they're going to give you XP for it. It pretty much rains level ups, which is good because there's lots of things to put those level ups into. Every time you level up, you're going to get a stat point and you're going to get like 15 skill points. I don't know if this gives you more skill points like it does in Fallout when you level up. I don't think that it does, but you get about 15 skill points. I put a lot of mine into shooting. Deadeye is a special ability that allows me to take an aimed shot. Vigilance is kind of like an Overwatch that allows me to guard an area and take a shot of anything that moves into it. But these are not the only ones that are here. You will unlock other skills as time goes along and as you meet more people from the Outback. I've got Tranquility, which is a magical ability. There's some kind of like psychokinetics going on in this universe, and nobody can really explain it. There's not like an established hierarchy or like a mages guild or anything. It's just some people seem to be able to do stuff now. And they keep it on the down low because being a weirdo in the middle of the Outback is a great way to end up dingo mulch. And so I've got the ability to gift other people my AP and give them initiative boosts. I've got Assassin, which allows me to make a bleeding attack on the enemy. I can also put up an energy shield on people to protect them if they need it in combat. All those sorts of things. And so we need to go talk to Nathaniel Black outside the church. All right, I don't see anything so far that much looks like a church. But you can't. Is that a church right there? Where's the steeple at? Where's the parish? Where's the people? You know what I mean? All right. Well, let's see if we can resolve this in any kind of like interesting way. I guess I got to get the gate open over here. Let's put the gate open. It lets out a long, loud groan that echoes off the nearby buildings. He shuffles out from behind his tanker, face gaunt, and he attempts an easy smile. Hooroo, you lot! You getting me out of here? Yeah. Continue. She fires a shot into the ground at your feet. I knew something was off. Nobody willingly approaches me, and I don't have any friends. Something is off here. Put my hands up? I don't know. Like, I don't really want to fight the entire town, which sort of seems like the way this is going. It seems like they abducted my mechanic from my town. And I'm not really trying to kick off like a major desert war here. Hands up, I guess. Julianne, I don't think weapons are necessary here, says the man who plotted a coup. Her finger tenses on the trigger. I could make a punt check right here to try and shoot her in the head, but, like, it doesn't tell you the percentages in this game when you make a test like this. So I don't know how hard very hard is. Like, is very hard like 25%? Is it like 10%? It's very difficult to say. I say make a break for it. I'm an agility build. She shoots Nathaniel almost casually, then turns on you. You bolt through the open gate to the sound of shots and the sharp retort of rifles. Cole guns the engine on the tanker and peels away, kicking up enough dust to obscure your view of Alderside. You hear a single piercing scream. Did she shot the church guy in the face? That's a priest, my dude. That's bad juju right there. They go put the hex on you. Thanks for your help back there. It seems as if he's working towards something, but stops. He clears his throat and changes tack. Mad and Ella and them, they feel like they gotta look out for me or something. You don't have to come with them to Alderside, so, thanks. Good technicians are hard to come by. I'm not giving you up. Thanks. It's good to know I'm useful. He tries to hide the hurt behind a smile. My character is a hired gun mercenary. A cold, calculating... This right here, you see this? This is your character's moral compass. And you're going to notice that it's all in kind of like this lower, like hotter colors. That's because I chose it that way. My character is fully Machiavellian and fully nihilistic because he's a he's a hired gun. He murders people for money. That's literally his job. The game does do a really good job at referencing your background. It does it quite frequently in the first 2 or 3 hours where you get like special options and dialogue as a hired gun to like bully people or like scare people or like quick draw on them or something like that. I assume it's the same for the other jobs you can take. I think there was like dew farmer, there was merchant, there was hired gun, there was like wanderer or like vagrant or something like that, and it seems to reference it a lot. How are you holding up? Not really worth talking about, is it? I mean, I asked. Can you improve my weapons? What do you want to upgrade? My hunting rifle? Which one? This one. 5 scrap and $90 will do it. Oh yeah, that'd be good. He busies himself for a while and then hands you the fixed up weapon. There you go. You need anything else? For some reason, one of the main conversations I can have with every party member in the game is, what do you think makes a good leader? I don't know. We've resolved that crisis, so at least we got our mechanic back. I haven't leveled up quite yet. It's probably going to take another quest or 2 before we get there. But I do have a +1 hunting rifle now, which is pretty solid, so we'll go ahead and throw that back into our inventory very rapidly. I can't tell what the major difference is from it. Oh wow, did it like double my damage? It definitely gave us a damage boost. It says the average damage we'll pull off is 26 to 32. There hasn't been a huge amount of itemization to the game yet. There are a lot of vendors and things that you can talk to all over the game world. I found the game world design to be very nice. It looks very lived in. The textures in this game are like shockingly tight. This game has really good textures. The animations are a little bit loosey-goosey, but the textures of the game, very, very stark, very tight, very contoured. Which I found that I actually like a lot. It almost feels like a Borderlands game where it feels like everything should have like a thick black ink line around it almost, with how defined and how tight the textures are, even from like this viewing distance. When you look at the environmental objects, they've got a sort of, you know, it's weird to say this, but it looks like the textures that Hinterland does. The developers of The Long Dark, actually, if you take a look at this trailer right here, it reminds me of a trailer that you would run into in The Long Dark, and it's a very stark art style that I don't know that I've seen anywhere outside of, like, Hinterland's games. But what other things do I have to do right now? We need to figure out another job. We can't be sitting around all day. Somebody wants me to go to the Flaming Gala beer garden and reclaim some rifles. There was a loan shark inside this town. He loaned a bunch of rifles to a guy, and apparently he's like the head of some kind of engineers guild or something. And so he loaned a bunch of rifles to a gang, and surprise, surprise, they welched on the deal. So I figure we'll give it a go. Oh, Cole's been added as a party member. That's pretty cool. I wonder what he does. I played around with all the party members. I don't think they level up the same way that you do. It seems like I mostly level up my own character, and then everyone levels up around me. I guess I'll take Mads. I'll take Ella. Who's Adam? Must not have been paying attention. We'll add Adam just because he's new, and I don't know exactly what he does. I did like Jess. She's got a spear. We need like frontline guys that can fight. I think the Flaming Gala Tavern was back in Brookton or Bally Hall, maybe? I don't know. We should probably go look. Unfortunately, on my way to where I wanted to go, we were waylaid by bad guys. Hopefully, they're not gnarly bad guys. This game seems to be all over the place with difficulty. And I don't mean that, I don't mean that in a disparaging way. What I mean is, this game has no problem serving up threats that you can't handle. And it expects you to either, like, reload your save and handle the situation another way, or it expects you to come back later once you've leveled up and gotten stronger and have more bonuses and more things you can use in order to turn the tide in your favor. So don't take that sentence wrong. I've become very careful about the way I say things because one thing that I've learned as a YouTuber is that if I phrase something a certain way, I know what I meant in my head, but there will always be somebody that kind of like gets it wrong. And I think the natural inclination there. Oh, it's Adam is the magician guy. What does he do? Does he have any cool skills that he can do? He can light an area on fire? Yeah, do that, dude. Use wizard magic on these dingo nerds. Oh, it looks like it needs to be like right in front of him. Okay. What else can he do? He's got withstand, so he can put like an energy shield on somebody. He can take a deadeye shot. Let's go for a deadeye shot over here. There we go. He's only got a pistol. I like the texture on these dingoes, too. Like I said, very, very Hinterland inspired. I don't know if the developers are fans of Hinterland in the Long Dark, but it seems like their texture making is straight out of something that, like, Hinterland would have done. Dingoes are going to try to close with me right here. Unfortunately, if they get up too close, my rifle is not going to be that helpful. Rifles lose accuracy the closer the enemy is, so it's usually good to have yourself, like, an alternate weapon. Some kind of whoop stick like she's got right there. So we'll give them the old whoop sticking. One area where I think the game could definitely improve is that the entire soundscape is a little bit wispy. So, for example, the guns don't have a lot of plosive quality to them. They're very tinny, and they're very sort of like, not snappy, I guess. Break out the spear. There we go. Stick that guy. 27 damage critical right there. I'll take that. Is the shotgun good at this range, or is the shotgun not good at this range? Just fire across that way, and we'll see what happens. In the meantime, get that guy down real fast. Hopefully I get some good meat out of these dingoes, dude. Meat has been the principal way that I have been financing my entire adventure. But as I was saying, the soundscape, it could be a lot more plosive, it could be a bit more poppy, it could have a bit more bass to it. A lot of the gun sounds in the game are very, very high-end heavy, I guess. And so it means that the combat doesn't feel crazy, wild, and impactful. It helps out a little bit that there's that tiny bit of screen shake or whatever that they put inside of there. So it's not completely and totally a lost cause. Like, the combat feels fine, but it could feel better, is my point. All right, enemies are down. It does not collect all the loot on the one body that you loot first. That is a feature from video games and things like Rogue Trader that I'm a big fan of, is where the first body you click will have all the loot from every single body on the battlefield on it. I like that system. I hope that they add it at some point. I don't like clicking in between enemies and like trying to figure out, you know, which things I've looted and which I haven't. I was attacked on the road by a mutated wombat. So, I guess these cube-shitting maniacs want the smoke. I don't really know what else to say about it. Unfortunately, they're, like, in base contact with my sniper. And so, let's swing away, I guess. How many of them are there? More than I would like. I don't really think of wombats as being, like, a threat, in all honesty. I think of wombats as, like, an adorable creature that I wish I could have a pet of. Like, I kind of just want to hang out with the wombat and pet him, but... Oh, her spear is poisoned. That's pretty rad. I didn't realize her spear was poisoned. I guess we'll go for the shotgun out here. Just kind of like guard a flank and try to clear to a side. Okay, I'll take a miss right there. That's good. Oh, there's another one over there, too. Does it have 4 eyes? It does. I would like it if they spruced up these battlefields over here, too, and actually put things on the battlefield to investigate, like, after you got done with the fight. I remember, like, Fallout 2 used to do things like that, where you would have a random combat in the middle of the field, like, while you were traveling around. But the combat battlefield, after you got done with the enemy, would always have, like, shacks and, like, little loot crates and stuff all over it that you could take a look at, just to sort of, like, give you a little bit of extra window dressing. I like stuff like that. Stuff like that makes me happy. In combat, enemy selectivity can be a little bit wonky if enemies are overlaid like this. Sometimes it won't let you attack the guy that you actively want to attack. I guess I'll just fire my shot at that guy right there, because I can't fire at the one right in front of me. Finish this guy off. Good stuff. Finish that guy off. Also good stuff. 60 damage out right there. Getting him off our flank, making it happen. Let's see if we can work our way out from this side over here. Oof. All right, all right, all right. You're the tough guy. They're so adorable, though, dude. I don't want to fight them. They look like you put a little saddle on them and let a kid ride them. I don't know. They look friendly, dude. They look like the kind of animal that's desperately in need of hugs. Unfortunately, the truth of the situation is that they don't seem to really want hugs altogether that badly. So right here is exactly what I'm talking about. So you see how they're behind my team member right there? There's not really a lot of ways to resolve that. But they'll get an attack of opportunity if I can't find the sweet spot and I try to walk away. That's going to be something that needs to be tightened up and cleaned up immediately because it's actually ruined turns for me in other combats where I just can't select the enemy to actively attack them. It doesn't happen like every single combat, but the game is melee heavy enough that it happens enough to become a headache. And we'll move her up to there just to block that guy off. I don't know if he's going to get an attack of opportunity right there, but let's pull back and flank out on him real quick. The game does have a flanking system thus far, but I haven't really gotten to the bottom of like how it benefits or whatever. I must have missed the tutorial pop-up when it came up. Wow, dude, I'm like beat to hell right now. I'm going to need some backup. Really? He's disengaging to oh, no, he's not. Never mind. I thought he was going to disengage to go after the wounded party member, and I was like, that's pretty smart to focus fire like that. Let's keep all of our weight going up against this guy right here. Down they go. Another shot right there. And then we should get the finisher right here. Oh, maybe not. Maybe bad luck will haunt us. There we go. We'll clean it up with somebody else. How much meat is on these things? A lot. This should actually be a really good money-making opportunity. Double meats off each of these guys is huge. You can't heal yourself using the meats and the restoratives. I don't know if I got XP for that. Did I get XP for this? Do you, like, actually get XP for combat? Do I have, like, a combat log around somewhere? I think I picked the bones clean, so we should be good on that side. Let's head back into Meriden, because I've traveled to all the wrong places, and I've been attacked by everything on Earth while moving in between those places. Let's head back into Meriden because I decided to, like, about face. And so we're going to pull, like, an 8-hour rest real fast. Just to get our HP back. Because in the world of RPGs, you have to understand, 8 hours is a magical thing. There is no gunshot wound. There is no abrasion. There is no misery that cannot be healed by just a good night's sleep. And I'm looking for the Flaming Gala, I guess. I don't know where that's at. Oh, it's over there. Okay. Let's go to the Flaming Gala then and see if we can find these rifles. For some reason, I thought the Flaming Gala was in another town, but after cruising around for a little bit, I just edited it out because it didn't actively become important. So pulling up on the Flaming Gala, you can talk to all these people. They will have little side quests and things. Not always, but I've actually been surprised how many, like, random little tasks there are that somebody will be like, oh, yeah, bring me 10 scrap, or, like, bring me 5 meats, or whatever else. We're looking for a gang around here. Is it those guys? I bet it's those guys. There you are. You ready to give me a hand? Maybe later. Oh, yeah. This guy wanted to, so we're trying to, the ultimate goal is that our town got burned down by the raiders. They're not even like raiders. They're another city-state. And so there's a governor's election going on inside this city-state. And different governors are promising to help us with different supplies and, like, help us rebuild our town if we vet with them and handle their issues. And that guy was trying to undercut a deal that I already had. Welcome to the Flaming Gala. I'm Holly Bell, and I'll be your host, mainly because I'm the manager and sole employee. Couple of rules before I take down your order. No credit, no tab, no exceptions. Even the governor doesn't drink for free. And second, keep the politics to a minimum. This is a neutral. No fights. Clear? All right. You got anything to trade? I got some meat over here if you wanted to buy a big stack of my meat. Lamington. Sponge cake dipped in chocolate and then covered with desiccated coconut. Brother, you're speaking my language right now. I love coconut. Some people really polar about coconut. I love coconut. Coconut's great. Alright, it's got to be these dudes back here. I'm not really trying to 4v1 right now, so I'm going to save before I do this, just in case I get my ass kicked, because getting my ass kicked has happened pretty frequently. Hey, Moneybags, you want to buy us around? Quit acting tough, Ian. Name's Rigididge. You got something to say? I'm here for Hunter's guns. But our loan's not up yet, right? He runs a hand along his mohawk, red bristles flicking back up to attention. No? What do you mean, no? Where's the money I gave you to extend the loan? It's here. Sorry. If the loan's up, the loan's up. Come on, hand him over to our new friend. She gives you the hunting rifle. He throws his gun on the ground. Go on, collect it. I'll tell Hunter you've been throwing his weapons on the ground. Fine. He picks it up and hands it to you, avoiding eye contact. Go on, hand your shit over. Come on, Ree, we haven't bagged that emu yet. You promised this would be the chance. Tana, the situation's changed, all right? Anybody that bags the emu instead of us will mount their head on the wall. I'm going to hold you to that. He drops his gun into your hands. Gun's all yours, but I left the casings at the firing range. All right, I'll go get the casings. Good. He salutes you with his schooner. What's a schooner? Oh, better than a midi, not as good as a pint. Gotcha. That's the spirit. I'm outgunned. I'm outgunned and I'm outnumbered, and when you're in town, you don't have party members with you. So, like, I'll just go down to the firing range and handle this. All right, casings over here. Casings over here. And casings over there. All right, we got all this stuff covered, so let me drop this back off with the Engineers Guild or whatever it is, the hunters and collectors, like the artifact finders. Not necessarily the Brotherhood of Steel, but they kind of do the same thing. They look for technology. Let's drop this off over here. Closed, open in the morning. Okay. I guess I'll wait till morning then. So apparently the day and the night cycle does actively affect things in this game. So that's good to know. But yeah, my 2 or 3 hours with the game have mostly been positive. The animations are a little bit weak. I think the voice acting is kind of all over the place. And then from there, though, the texturing and the modeling and the world design are quite good. The dialogue is decent to solid. If you're into narrative and storyline, this game does have a lot of talk and a lot of chat. The one thing I would warn people about is the pacing of the game. The first couple hours of the game are going to be combatless and a lot of dialogue. I think there was 1 or 2 situations that I could have escalated into a fight in the first couple hours. However, the game is threatening enough that I think it's a good idea to learn to, like, walk away and not get yourself into massive brawls every 8 or 9 seconds. There will be times where you are outgunned in this game and bad things are going to happen. And you're just going to get whooped, and that's like all there is to it. But my name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today we were taking a look at Broken Roads, doing our first impressions thereof because this game is a very hotly awaited RPG. Everybody's very excited about it. Lots of people have been looking forward to it and wish listing it. It's not going to be the second coming of, like, RPG saviors. However, if you find yourself into things that are kind of like Wasteland, I guess, but with a much more heavy narrative bent to them, and you're willing to get through the first hour or 2 of the game not having that much action to get to the point where it starts serving up combat and it starts serving up fights, I think there's things to enjoy here, especially with the cultural shift of, like, how many games do you play that take place in post-apocalyptic Australia and make full use of their slang, and they have, you know, First Peoples in them and stuff like that they're constantly referencing that culture, and you've got party members that come from kind of that world and that culture. As a Pacific Islander, I dug it, dude. It was an interesting take. The game is more optimistic than a lot of other post-apocalyptic media that's out there. Like, it's actually kind of idealistic, and this is going to be a chat-heavy game when you're going through it. But after the first couple hours, you're going to get to the point where they let you off the leash, and then combat happens a little bit more freely. Combat is a little bit impactless. It could use a little bit better sound effects, a little bit better reactivity to characters getting hit and stuff like that. The voice acting, like I said, little all over the place. Some of it is great, some of it not so much. But thus far, I really like the environments, I really like the city, I really like the storyline so far, if you can maintain and get through the wordiness of it. And so I haven't really seen any major issues. I've had no bugs, I've had no problems, I've had no crashes, everything has worked out fine. So then it just becomes if you can survive the onboarding to this game, which is very, very talkative and kind of slow for the first hour or 2, and you can get to the main meat of it, it's definitely entertaining to play for me so far. And so my name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, we were fooling around with Broken Roads, probably one of the most wish-listed RPGs of the year so far in the indie space. I'll see y'all tomorrow with something hot and fresh off the indie skillet, but up until then, it's time for me to go. Bye, folks.